good to know, even if it is cousins several times removed. Charlotte recalled finding the small group of Amish people who had migrated to Texas from Tennessee. She'd built her secret identity based on information she'd gathered by spending time with them, and they'd directed her to a resale shop where she'd purchased her Amish clothes. They'd been nice enough, if not a bit suspicious about all of Charlotte's questions. Lena set the suitcases on the landing below the staircase, so Charlotte did the same with hers. Jacob can haul these upstairs when he gets home. Lena smiled again. Charlotte knew Lena was referring to her 16-year-old son. You must be hungry from your travels. Come. She motioned for Charlotte to follow, and once in the kitchen, Lena pulled out a chair at the head of the table. Before them lay enough food to feed an army. I didn't know what you liked, so I made chicken salad, tuna salad, and egg salad. She pointed to 3 more bowls on Charlotte's right. That's barbecued meatballs, cheddar meatloaf, and my special chicken casserole. She pressed her palms together and then pointed to the middle of the table. That's bread I made this morning, and to the left is apple butter. Chow chow is in the other bowl. She spun around, rattled off something in her native language, then returned with a glass she set in front of Charlotte. This was going to be an area of concern, her inability to understand or speak much of the dialect, which she'd read was an offshoot of German. She offered up the best smile she could, hoping to fake her way through the conversation. Everything looks very gut. She'd learned a handful of words most commonly used by the women in Beeville. She'd camped out at a nearby hotel and visited the farmer's market daily for a couple of weeks in an effort to gain information. The women sold canned goods and homemade crafts. Charlotte always bought several jars of jams and jellies as unspoken payment for their help. She figured she had enough jellies for the next several years, but it had been worth it for the valuable information. I hoped that everyone could be here to welcome you, but it just didn't work out. Lena sighed as she sat down to Charlotte's left. After dinner, you should rest. Tomorrow, Hannah and I are adding to the flower beds. We like to spruce things up with tiger eyes every August. They only bloom for about 11 weeks, but they are always a nice addition when some of our perennials finish blooming. Charlotte stiffened at the mention of Lena's daughter, Hannah, but cleared her throat with a slight cough. Hannah's a couple of years younger than me, right? 23 or 24? Lena nodded. Yeah, she's 24. That seemed old to still be living at home. Hannah had wanted to be here, but Widow Hostetler called and needed someone to cart her to the doctor. She doesn't drive her buggy anymore, Lena chuckled, and we are all safer on the streets because of that. Charlotte bowed her head when Lena did. The Amish prayed silently before every meal, so Charlotte sat quietly with her eyes closed and waited. Did you say Widow Hostetler called? Charlotte had seen the women in Beeville using cell phones, but she wanted clarification that she'd be able to use her phone while she was here. It was Charlotte's understanding that some Amish districts allowed the use of cell phones while others did not. Yeah, our bishop allows portable telephone calls for emergencies. She winked at Charlotte. Funny how many emergencies pop up. Lena frowned. Oh, nee. Are you against the use of mobile telephones, or does your district allow it? Charlotte swallowed a bite of bread, the tastiest she'd ever had. Yeah, she paused, kicking herself again. Yeah, we are allowed phones. Lena handed Charlotte the bowl of chicken salad, and Charlotte spooned a small amount onto her plate. Then she got 2 meatballs and a small scoop of chicken casserole. I hope you'll eat more than that. Lena sat taller, her eyes wide. That's not enough to feed a bird. To Charlotte, it looked like a ton, so she was a bit taken aback and not sure how to respond. I've had a stomach bug recently. One more lie to add to the collection. Lena clicked her tongue a couple of times. We've had something going around here, too. Hannah took sick last week. Charlotte tensed again, knowing she would have to stop reacting every time Hannah's name was mentioned. But she couldn't shake the idea that maybe Ethan's fiancé had something to do with his death, or at the least, knew why her brother had killed himself. Save room for dessert, Lena said as she motioned toward a chocolate pie at the far end of the table. Charlotte fought a yawn before she nodded. She wasn't sure how she'd